All right, the simple way of describing it or defining it is that it's a trance state. And that trance state is brought on by intense attention, so having your full attention, your focus, you're focusing on a particular thing, such as the instruction of the hypnotist or the hypnotherapist, and relaxation, just allowing the mind and body to relax into the trance. And so hypnosis is one of those concepts that there's as many definitions and meanings as there are hypnotists, because it is incredibly hard to pin down and define what it is and how it works, because we're still undertaking the scientific discovery and analysis as to what it actually is, as well as the metaphysical and psychological implications of it. But it is really very much a process of decreasing the intensity of the critical faculty, so the conscious mind, and allowing the unconscious mind to come further to the surface so that it can have suggestions embedded into it in terms of how it's programmed, how it's operationalized neurologically, conceptually, all that other stuff. And so a hypnotic state is a high suggestibility state. So that's why when you see people up on stage in stage hypnosis, they respond to the suggestions of the hypnotist as if it was their actual reality, because the critical faculty, the critical mind has just been put to the side for a moment, and the unconscious, the deepest layers of our being open up to create a new reality according to what its experience is. And that's why it's incredibly powerful to help facilitate healing and development in a person's life, because the subconscious doesn't know the difference between real reality and an illusional reality or a manufactured reality, such as what is created in a hypnotic state, which is incredibly powerful because, as I mentioned, we can actually implement some real changes deep into our system to move forward in a more wholesome, holistic, healthy, happy, and honorable way. Everybody experiences trance differently. In fact, we all do it each and every day. Daydreaming is an example, or watching TV, or reading a book really intensely. Maybe you're driving in your car and you're thinking in your own head, not really paying attention to the road. There are all some common examples of trance states that we do experience each and every day. And that's why advertising is so powerful, actually, and why so many companies spend so many billions of dollars each year on it, because the critical faculties put to the side and they're completely absorbed. Their attention is there, their focus is there, they're relaxed, their critical mind's to the side a little bit, and they're absorbing the messages from the TV as well as the advertising. And so we all experience trance, and sometimes we experience just a light trance such as that, which might be considered an alpha brainwave state. So you can measure the brain frequency and what's happening on that level in terms of the cycles per second through the different frequencies. So you got beta, which we're usually at, alpha, which is about 7 to 13 cycles per second, theta, which is about 3 or 4 to 7 cycles per second. And that's where a lot of deep hypnotic work can take place, because the sensory input and the critical mind is very much minimized in that state. And then you've got delta, which is about 0.5 to 3 cycles per second. But essentially, we all experience trance states, sometimes just light, but we can train ourselves to go into medium or deep trances, otherwise known as a somnambulistic state, meaning that the critical faculty is pretty much, really very much minimized, and the person is highly susceptible to suggestion, and they are experiencing a different reality according to what the instruction or the suggestion actually is. And so I used to be a person that used to say, I've got too strong a mind to be hypnotized. And then I realized over time that I'd been hypnotizing myself, self-hypnosis, for many, many years. I've been practicing meditation for over 15 years, probably 17 or 18 years now. And it wasn't until several years ago I realized this was actually self-hypnosis, and I can be hypnotized. In fact, I'm doing it to myself, and I'm moving in and out of light, medium trances each and every day. Or when I meditate, I'm going into different forms of trance. And so there are two types of meditation that people sort of focus on. There's the one where people like to switch off their critical faculty, their egoic light, so to speak, and experience the wonders of their unconscious, how that relates to the collective unconscious, how that relates to the cosmic unconscious, all the way to the infinite dimensions of our existence and back. And that's a really good way of experiencing the richness, the colourfulness of our mindscape. However, there's another type of meditation, which is essentially empowering and strengthening that egoic light in a way where it navigates on with a purpose through the unconscious realm, through the neurology, through the conceptual infrastructure to redesign it in more healthy, happy, honourable ways. And so meditation in that sense is self-hypnosis. However, it is quite difficult to be the hypnotist, be the critical faculty watching the trance take place, and being the unconscious having a trance experience. And that's why hypnotherapy and a hypnotherapist can be really integral to at least getting the ball rolling for creating these shifts in neurology, the brain neurology, our entire body brain, as well as the shifts in behavior and associated subconscious programming. A good analogy for what hypnosis is the computer analogy. So the computer hardware is our brain, is our body brain. We've got in our cerebral brain, we've got 100 billion neurons. In our gut brain, we've got 100 million neurons. In our heart brain, we've got about 40,000 neurons. These three major brain centers of our body independently process information, combine it at one stage to give us our conscious awareness. So that's why when people say they've got gut instinct, they literally do have information that's being processed in their digestive system, their gut center, but that's bubbling up to consciousness sometimes. Same as the intuition of the heart. We literally have these different informational sources that are processing the environmental stimuli that it's experiencing, and then sometimes they combine to give us one coherent message, and sometimes we might have different messages. Our rational mind might be saying one thing, our gut instinct is saying another thing, and that's where we've got to help ourselves to dissect and understand, connect with where the information is coming from to make decisions according to what we really do want. So the body brain is the computer hardware, the infrastructure, all of those physical mechanical parts. Then you've got the programming that you put onto the hardware, which is all of the conceptual programming or infrastructure of the mind, all of the information that flows throughout the body. And then you've got startup programs. For example, you might click on your computer and program startup straight away. They're some of the most dominant programs that we experience on a conscious level. And so if we want to change maybe some mental health issues, maybe some physical health issues, maybe we want to enhance different aspects of ourselves, such as confidence or memory recall, those sorts of things, then what we can do is install new programs, from looking at from an analogous sense, install those programs that they're the default programs we've got access to in our daily existence. So hypnotherapy I've already alluded to and touched on a little bit, but essentially it's using the hypnotic state, the trance state, to encourage and facilitate therapeutic and developmental intervention for the client. And so essentially the client comes to me to help in whatever way. It might be to fix some health issue, it might be to enhance some aspect of their life, and it might actually just be as a personal development tool so that they can learn techniques to use for themselves as they move forward in their own future. And so those goals and desires I will utilize as suggestions. I will help induce trance, go into as deep a trance as we can go, minimize the conscious mind, increase the unconscious mind, embed the suggestions, and then reinforce those suggestions through recordings that I give to my clients, as well as other self-hypnosis techniques that I also provide to my clients through the interaction that we have. Hypnotherapy can help stress, anxiety, depression, phobias, OCD, allergies, asthma, lowering blood pressure, really working with migraines and headaches really well, insomnia, pretty much anything that is a mental or physical health issue in our world today, we can chuck into the bucket of what a hypnotherapy can help, even if it's just the psychological, emotional, philosophical response to whatever problem they might be facing. So it might not be able to cure a particular illness, but it certainly can help change the experience, the psychological experience the person has in response to it, so that it's not causing even further issues and making it a greater experience of suffering for them. So as mentioned, not just dealing with mental illness and physical illness, it also is really great with minimizing pain. So you can actually reduce pain like neck and back pain. You can actually give people surgery who have gone under hypnosis without anesthesia. It is that powerful. It really is that amazing. And as I mentioned, it was such a shock to me to hear this, is that it works to cure allergies. That's how potent this technique is for helping people to move forward in their lives in productive, functional ways. And so not only that, it can help to really enhance people's confidence, for example, such as maybe speaking to colleagues, at a corporate event, maybe getting up on stage and doing presentations, whatever it may be. It can enhance skills. It can actually speed up healing as well, which is another amazing aspect of hypnotherapy. But it can also help people to learn skills quicker, such as something related to their sporting career or whatever it may be. It's such a wide application. And so I'm incredibly excited to be contributing to such an amazing discipline that one day will be the go-to therapy, because compared to traditional CBT or cognitive behavioural therapies, such as psychotherapy, counselling, mentoring, that sort of thing, which is essentially a talk therapy, which works with the conscious mind, hypnotherapy is totally unmatched in terms of the efficacy, the results, the success that it gets for people dealing with whatever issues they're dealing with. And so an amazing, amazing tool. I'm so excited to help people through this process, because I have spent a lot of time in my life helping people through traditional talk therapy, and moving into the wonderful world of hypnotherapy has just increased the results to amazing, amazing levels. So my name is Phillip J. Watt. I'm a hypnopsychotherapist, and what that means is I don't just do hypnotherapy, so working with the unconscious mind. I also do psychotherapy, which is working with the conscious mind. So I work with both sides of the one coin of therapeutic and developmental intervention, as well as the behavioural stuff, how that expresses out through activity, action, behaviour, habit, all those sorts of things. When I give clients a session, I give them tools for self-hypnosis as well. So it's not just about me helping them, it's about me helping them to help themselves. And I also do a personalized list for them as well in terms of their goals, desires, because it is so integral just to have that mirror, that reflection of what we want to achieve, because it reminds us not just on a conscious level, but it also reminds us on an unconscious level. So if we stick that on a door or on a mirror, somewhere where we'll see it all the time, the subconscious sees it, even if we're not directly looking at it, and it'll say, all right, I've been told to actualize this in my life, into my programming, whatever the story that it tells itself. And it helps to really reinforce that story and create a new reality in that space. But going well back in the day, I studied social sciences and philosophies at the University of Newcastle, Australia, and the University of Manchester in the UK. I went into policy development, program project management, that sort of thing for the federal government, and then worked in social services with highly socioeconomically disadvantaged adults, kids and families. So lots of relationship mediation, life coaching and mentoring. And mentoring kids, working with kids is some of my favourite part of the job, because they're just such a pleasure to be around. And it's where you get the most favourable results, because they're so young, their brains are still developing, their neurology is still developing, and they're more like sponges who are taking on the information more readily, and there's not as much critical faculty or resistance to that change. And so after that, I went to life coaching, further relationship mediation. I've helped hundreds of people through talk therapy, through helping them to redesign their conscious minds and their behaviours, their lives in more productive, functional ways. And then I got into hypnotherapy, and it's just the next stage of my professional development. I'm also an author and presenter. I've written dozens upon dozens of articles which have been shared across dozens of mindfulness websites across the world, primarily focused on spirituality, self-help and social change. And I've been incredibly fortunate to reach into the millions of people through that work and really help people in some cutting edge and fundamental ways in their own lives. I've also authored my first novel. That's non-fiction fiction called The Simulation. It's a cheeky snapshot of what it means to be human at the start of the 21st century, experiencing the love, lust, and madness, magic, and mystery of life. And so I'm incredibly proud of that work because it's a good fictional representation of what we're experiencing right now. My website is healbyhypnosis.com. There you can contact me for a free consultation, 10-15 minutes just to get to know each other and to make sure I can actually help. So it's important, A, to get to know each other to see if we work well together, because collaboration and rapport and commitment by both parties is incredibly essential for any hypnotherapeutic intervention. The other aspect is I want to make sure I can help. So I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. I'm here to genuinely help. I really want to make people experience their connection to themselves, to life in general, to everybody around them, to degrees they've never felt before. I really want them to emancipate themselves from their suffering. I really want to help. And so to do that, I need to make sure that we're going to work well together and that I can actually help as well. At that website too, you'll find links to my book, presentations, interviews, a whole bunch of good stuff around hypnotherapy and hypnosis and its benefits. And so once again, that's healbyhypnosis.com. And you can also check out the podcast that I created with my partner Nicole called Mad Magic. So I'm incredibly excited and passionate about hypnotherapy. Now, whether or not you want a session with me or not, that doesn't matter. I really hope to encourage anybody watching this to study meditation, to study self-hypnosis, to study mindfulness, to study hypnosis or hypnotherapy, and then start practicing it, start experiencing trance states in your life every day, start experiencing how you can positively manipulate the areas, the neurological or conceptual pathways of your philosophies, of your ideas, of your thoughts, of your feelings, of your entire life, of who you are, and transform yourself into the next version that you didn't even realize you could imagine.